Today's pulling adventure, we are going to go find this guy, Jeff, with TS Customs. And it's amazing what this guy has painted over the last 45 years. He has painted this truck and many other trucks and tractors and mini rods. So let's go see Jeff and see his pictures and hear his stories. Today we are with Jeff with TS Customs, and I found him through when we were looking at the Blue Ox truck. On the bottom of it, it said TS Customs. So the guy, the new owner that had it, looked you up, and he's like, no way this place is still around, you know, because how long ago did you paint that truck?
That had to be like 82, 83, somewhere around there. Maybe later. I'm trying to think when I got into them.
You're talking 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might have been 84 in that area, because I was doing the pullers from 81. I started the business in 81,
Okay.
but I was doing them before that. You know, I moved here in 81. I had another shop in Hales Corners. It was just a 3-car garage, but I started doing. Yeah, so it was like 81, so probably 82 or 83 when I did buds.
So we're on the bottom of the truck. It said TS Customs. So he looked it up, and you are still online. And he's like, "Wow, look at that!" So then he called you up, and you were still in business, and it's still the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
We were shocked.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So this is really cool. And then when you guys see what he's painted, it's unbelievable, because he showed me some pictures a couple weeks ago, and now he's giving us a little bit of time here, and it's going to show us some pictures and tell us some stories. And
is he from the pictures that I saw on your video, that thing looked pretty rough.
It is. It's really rough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was he able to find part replacement, or is he just?
I think he's going to get a different cab, and then maybe bring it to you. He was wondering if maybe you would redo it. But you guys can talk about that later. So
that'd be a whole major project.
Yeah. So I want to know, how did you get started doing this? Like, was your dad a body guy, or no?
No, I started when I was 16. I was at a car show, and I saw a guy pinstriping.
Okay.
And I was always into art. I went to high school. I took art classes, and so then. I talked to him, and he gave me his card, and he says, "Stop over, I'll give you some basics."
Ooh, for free, or just train?
Yeah.
Okay.
Real nice guy. He's still around, I believe. His name is Sid from up in Milwaukee.
Okay.
So I stopped in there, and he showed me what brushes to buy, you know, where to get the paint and stuff, and that kind of started the ball rolling.
You know. Were you drawing stuff as a kid all the time?
Oh yes. When I was 7 or 8 years old, I do cartoons. You know, I always enjoyed art from day one, and it was fun, you know, doing that stuff. And then I would go to car shows and pinstripe at car shows. You know, I started doing that stuff. Well, pinstriping is an art, but I also like doing painting art.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a 74 Gremlin that I painted a mural on the back, and then I put that in car shows. Well, then the ball started rolling, you know.
Okay.
And then custom painted that a little bit more than just a mural, you know, changed the stock colors, and had the interior done by Carl Casper, who was a real famous hot rod interior guy right here in Waterford.
Okay.
And it just started rolling, and it was. My brother was a body man, and he kind of give me some basics and help me out and stuff like that. But I didn't want to be a body man. I wanted to be a custom painter. So I started painting cars, and some of the stuff I painted, I just happened to be scanning some pictures in of them. And I'm thinking, man, that's a lot of work.
Did you have to do the body work first, or did your brother do
yeah.
it? So you had to do the body work no matter what.
I had to learn how to do it the hard way. Yeah, self-taught.
Yeah.
And I had some friends, that were into the body business, and my brother's friends.
Okay.
If I had a question, I would call them up and say, hey,
yeah,
what do I do here? And they'd come over and they'd help me. They'd show me stuff, Because as you do it, you learn more and more shortcuts and better ways to do things. And I learned how to do all of that. And like back when we were doing the pullers, even back when I was doing cars, everything was done in lacquer.
Okay.
Where now it's all, base coat, clear coat, urethanes.
Yeah.
But Emron was the only urethane out there. So I would clear everything, all the pullers, everything would be cleared in Emron. That was back in that day, that was the toughest paint out there. All the semis were painted in Emron, and they were all metallic and whatever colors.
Yeah.
But I would use the clear coat, and that was some major stuff, to do. And I'd have help here and there. I hired kids, and my brother-in-law helped me for a while when he was in high school. He's younger than me.
Oh, okay.
And I had other friends in high school because I was in my 20s. We moved here in '79.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had a tractor in here, and I had Bud's.
That coupe.
The coupe, the 34.
The long one.
Yeah, in here at the same time.
And you could do those end to end, or like one here, one front and back.
Yeah, well, they would be this way.
Sideways.
Sideways.
Okay.
Yeah. We'd sit them in that way. We were long enough to fit most of it, but I think Bud's was longer than 24 feet.
Yeah.
I'm sure that thing was.
Because he had that whole other engine sitting out front.
Yeah.
Which we'll see in a little bit here.
Yeah. And I even did the Lidke illuminator in here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That had to be a nightmare, huh?
Yeah, that was, and they brought it down here.
Like, you painted the whole thing inside and out, or just like on the outside?
Well, it was, the inside never really got painted,
right.
And the bed didn't get painted,
okay.
or the platform.
Inside the box?
Yeah,
or,
but they had the box off, we sat it up on obviously pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
It was empty, and, we had the chassis sitting here, and yeah, they had it all sandblasted, so it was all stripped. Because when I talked to Lloyd and Jim at that time, I said, hey, it's best to start with fresh. I'll prime it and then paint it, and then everything will hold on better,
Yeah.
So, that was a major project. That was a major project. And, Bud's too, his 34,
Yep.
And even when I did tractors, I pulled them all apart. They'd be on the chassis, and the modifieds.
Yeah.
They
had the engines in them?
No, the engines weren't in them.
Okay.
But the clutch cans were there, so they wanted their clutch cans painted.
Oh.
And the drive shafts painted.
Oh, wow.
And the gearbox all painted, because it was all exposed.
Right.
You
can see it, from the stands and everything, and
yeah, right. People walking in the pits, because everyone could walk in the pits.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, and it was major projects when the modified came in, and when I did the super stocks, the farm tractors, that was the same thing.
Yeah.
I'd have the thing together, but then you'd have to take it apart, and the rear end and the engine, the transmission all was one piece.
Right.
But you could take the bodywork off. And most of these guys, they went and had all aluminum bodies made.
Oh, wow.
Even back then, that had to be a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we take the bodies apart and prep them and paint them. And
that's what I loved about the 80s stuff, was like these guys all made it themselves. Everything. The chassis.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Did you have another job besides this, or was this like always your job?
No, I actually worked full-time for 30 years for General Motors.
Oh.
I was
At the same time as painting?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 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 So I worked a full-time job, and then I worked here full-time.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. When my wife and I decided to have kids, she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And within the first year that we got married, there was a plant in Oak Creek that made the converters. It was General Motors,
Okay.
you know, and they were looking for apprentices. So I took my dad saw the ad in the paper, and he said, "Hey, go apply." So I said, "Okay." So I applied. Well, when I applied there, they said they were taking 750 applications, and there was 18 openings.
Ooh.
And I thought, okay, well, I was 3 years out of high school. I thought, well, whatever, you know. And then I got called about a month and a half later. They said, we want to do a personal interview. I says, really? He says, yeah, we're down to 400 people we're interviewing, and you made the interview.
Okay.
I thought, cool, you know. So this a little bit of a backstory, but when I went in for the interview, sat down, and I got to know the guys because they're all tradesmen, and I was going for an apprenticeship for a pipe fitter, which is a plumber in the factory. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I sat down, and the first thing they wanted was, they said, so why do you want to be an apprentice? You know, for plumbing. And I said, well, if you guys want to hire me as a journeyman, I'm ready. And they all looked at me, and they all just started cracking up because they never thought anybody would say anything like that. And I found out later because I knew the guys. They said that sealed your fate. When you said that, all the trade guys said, oh, this guy's got it. You know, he's got it made as far as he's easygoing, he's not nervous. Guys, yeah, you know.
Did you go to school for that to know how to do it?
No, my dad had a air conditioning refrigeration business.
Oh, okay.
And I went to a technical college after high school, and got an associate's degree in HVAC.
Okay.
And then I had jobs doing that.
Oh, wow.
You know. But when this opportunity came, you know, my dad said, hey, don't pass this up. You know. And December, first week of December, they called me up and said, how'd you like to start January 1st? And this was in 76, so I started 3rd of January of 77.
Okay.
And put in my time for my apprenticeship with the idea, I was doing this, with the idea is I'll get my apprenticeship in there, get a card, I'll have something to fall back on, and quit in 5 years. You know, after my apprenticeship.
Yeah.
After 5 years, we were starting to have kids.
Yeah.
And it cost me nothing because of our medical benefits.
Right.
I thought, okay, I'm no dummy. I'll stay here, see how long I can go.
Yeah.
And then, you know, do this on the side. And, you know, I worked third shift. Out of the 30 years, I probably worked third shift 20, 25 of it. No, about 20. About 20 years. I'd get home in the morning.
Yep.
By 7:30. I'd sleep till about noon and come out here, work from noon till 8 o'clock.
Oh.
And then get ready, you know, eat supper in there.
Yeah.
And whatever the kids had going on, I was home for.
Yeah.
So it worked out great.
That's why I work third shift. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Getting maximum time with my kids.
Right. But yeah, once I started doing this stuff, you know, I mean, even when I was getting into the big stuff, you know, it was fun to do. A lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
And I looked at, you know, when I looked at the pictures, and I'm saying, man, I had to be ambitious, you know.
How many would you do, like, in a year, you think?
You know, it would vary with the degree of work that was involved.
Yeah.
You know, but I was probably doing 8 or 9 of them at least a year.
So, like Bud's truck, what would the time to? Is that a couple months? Like say
when I did the Blue Ox, I think that was about 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Yeah, you know. when I did the 34, that was about 2 months. Because I also was working on a tractor at the time.
Oh, their tractor.
Not their tractor, another tractor,
Oh, okay.
another customer's tractor. Yeah. Yeah, you know. Yeah, and, you know, there were times I would call into work and say, yeah, I'm not going to make it in. Because I'm in the middle of something, you know, spraying something. I tried to pull the pin by 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then give me some time to, you know, relax a little bit and then get into work, you know.
Wow. Were the tractors easier to do since there's not as much? It seems like it would be easier since it's a frame and chassis and.
Yeah, I mean, somewhat,
Yeah.
you know, but they were just as involved
Really?
as far as paint wise.
Okay.
Yeah, because they wanted, you know, they wanted everything done, you know, custom.
They got the fenders,
Yeah.
so they're just as big as like a body panel, really. I
Well,
guess,
sure.
right?
Yeah, you know, and then, you know, with some of the modifieds, I paint the sides of the rails
Right.
as much as I painted on you know, the fenders. You know. And then you got into the super stocks, and I mean that's like a complete car.
A whole thing, right?
Yeah, right. But you know, all the body panels. You got the hood, the 2 side panels. You got your rear fenders, your rear, you know, where the seats are.
Yeah. Did you ever drive any of this stuff?
No.
No. Did you want to?
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know.
But never.
I did when I did Wild Hair. Steve Johnson, we would go out to his house every once in a while. Through friend, we became pretty good friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And I did drive his tractor out of his barn and into the yard and then back into the barn again. You know, but it was just idling. Yeah, I was so tempted, but he said to me, "Don't throttle it, just let it idle. It'll be fine." But man, it was loud. Wow. You know, back then them guys were wearing, you know, earplugs in their helmets, and I still think I bet you half of them are deaf.
Yeah. Well, when I talked to Dave Banner, I said you were around those 6 engines all the time, and his hearing is still fine.
Really?
Yeah. He said because he had really good helmets, and then the guys who were down starting them, they're the ones that sort of had problems.
Sure.
He was usually up. You know, he would have to start and mess with them a little bit, but nothing like the guys like his brother that would start him up and all that stuff, where they're right next to him all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, and you had a story about Top Gun pulling in here.
Oh yeah. When Ron Worskow came over, he called me up and he said, "I'm on my way. I'll be there in about 3 hours." And this was like at 6 o'clock at night. You know.
Yeah.
I said, "Dude, really?" He says, "Yeah. Don't worry about it." You know. I said, "Okay." And he actually came up
The way I.
from the river, from the golf course.
Yeah.
Okay. And he had to turn it around. He wanted to turn it around so he could just head out. So I sent him around the block to, you know, and when he came in here, he said, "I'm glad I didn't try to do this by myself, you know." But you know, he has the trailer, he opens everything up, and I says, "So you got a drive motor to get this thing up?" He says, "No, I'll just fire it up." This is at like almost 10 o'clock at night.
And we're in a neighborhood.
Yeah, in this you know, subdivision, and you know.
I videoed it coming in so people will see, like, this is. I would have never thought it was back here.
Right, right, you know. And he fired it up, and all of a sudden I look, and all the lights around the neighbors go on, you know. And I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to hear about this.
Both engines?
No, just fired one.
Just one?
Yeah, he was just able to fire one up, and he pulled it in here, and the garage doors, you know, fluttering because of the exhaust.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a V12. You know?
V12?
Yeah.
Open headers?
Yeah. So, and another funny story about not only Ron's, but I had a neighbor that called me on the carpet to the county
Yeah.
saying I was running a business in a residential area.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because I blocked every time. It seemed like every time he wanted to come down the road, there was a semi in the road.
Right.
You know. So he evidently called the county because they came here and looked at me. You know, a guy in a suit and tie shows up one day and
Boy.
he says, "What are you doing here?" And I was working, I think, on Simon Says Firebird.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm working on my race car. He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Just what I said. I'm painting my race car." He goes, this doesn't look like a race car. I says, well, it's a 2-wheel drive puller, you know. He goes, well, I got a report. Somebody complained that you're running a business here. I says, oh, really? You know, I act shocked, you know. And he goes, I see your sign, so that kind of gave it away, you know.
Yeah.
But he says, when did you open? And I says, September of 81. He goes, really? I said, yep. He says, okay. Well, I'm going to do some more investigating around the neighborhood, and I'll get back to you. About 3 weeks later, I get a letter in the mail that says, you were grandfathered because you started before we had any zoning laws, which were in January of 82.
Oh, wow.
So the guy upstairs was definitely watching that, you know.
Doesn't hurt, does it?
Yeah. And I thought, wow, that's cool. And he actually stopped by, you know, after I had received the letter. He says, just so you know, if anything ever happens, you can't expand this building. You know, you can't make it bigger, you can't go out, you can't do anything. It's got to stay the way it is.
Yeah.
He says, and if you have a fire, you can't rebuild it as a business.
Right.
And I says, okay, no problem. Well, lo and behold, in 2014, I burnt the place down.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It was an electrical based fire.
Okay.
But what happened was, I wasn't home. I was at Menards in Burlington. I get a call from my neighbor. And I look, and he is originally from Illinois, so I get an 847 exchange.
Yeah.
I ignore it. 2 seconds later, it's on it. It's the same number right again.
Yeah.
It's Jeff. You say, this is Pete. Your garage is on fire. Oh, you know. He says, we already called the fire department. I said, okay, thanks. I was flying. I came in here. And at that time, my brother-in-law happened to be on the volunteer fire department.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So they were here and they extinguished it and stuff like that. And I mean, it was that I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And not only because it's my shop,
Yeah.
but a house fire, anything would be terrible. So then I thought, well, what do I got to do? You know, first thing we looked for, I had the letter from the county
Yeah.
on the wall. And one of the first things we looked at, my son and I tried to find the letter, and we found it. It had smoke damage, but it was there. So I checked with the local inspector. And he goes, yeah, you're running a business there. I says, yeah, you're right. I'm legit, though, because I'm a grandfather. Mm-hmm. He said, okay. He says, well, first thing you got to do is get permits from the county. Okay. So I call the county. I tell them about the fire, and they said, okay. I says, I have, this wall was fine, and the front wall was fine. Mm-hmm. And the 32-foot wall on that wall was okay. It was, all I gotta do was put the roof on it, and the back wall was destroyed. The back wall was gone, because it started back there.
In a panel or something?
No, it was actually an outlet that showed out somehow.
Okay.
Okay, it was a 220 outlet that showed. That's what the inspector said. So I talked to the county and I said, you know, this is what happened. What do I have to do? They said, well, let me pull up your plot and your thing and stuff. They said, well, you can only rebuild the main structure of the shop, of the building. I says, okay. But I have an 8x24 addition on the back.
And that was fine?
No, that was gone.
That was gone too?
Yeah, that was gone. And I said, well, I gotta, you know, the roof line, I need that was put as an addition. They said, you can't do that. You're not gonna qualify for square footage.
Right.
So then I said, well, what if that 32-foot wall is still good? They said, well, what do you mean? I said, the studs are all there. I said, all I gotta do is put the roof brace on it. Oh, so then you have a back wall and the roof? Come and get your permit.
Nice.
I said, okay. And I talked to him, and I was down there in the afternoon right away and got my permits.
I would be too.
You bet. I didn't want them to change their mind and think any different.
Was there vehicles in there?
No, I had a bike in here though.
Okay.
I had a motorcycle.
Yeah, I see a bunch of pictures of motorcycles. So you do motorcycles too, obviously. And
Yeah, well, that's when I got out of the pullers,
oh, this is
I started doing bikes
okay.
because it was doing a piece this big, not a piece that big.
Did you tell the guys, hey, I'm done with the trucks and tractors?
I just kind of, somebody would call me and I say, well, I'm not really interested,
Okay.
And, I just, when I started doing the bikes, it was like, oh, man, this is way too easy, way too much nicer,
You could fit more of them in there.
Well, and I didn't, at that time, it was, you bring me the parts, I don't tear them down. I didn't want to do any mechanical work, I didn't want to I had no idea how to pull them apart.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, I would do probably 40 to 45 motorcycle over a winter time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's that easy for you.
Well, yeah, you're
smaller.
doing that, but that I really could explore on my artwork. That was like.
Yeah, I'll get some pictures of those before I go, like all the different stuff.
Yeah, I did everything flames. I did.
Yeah, flames. Choppers. When did you quit doing the pullers? Like what year about?
I'm going to say probably late 80s.
Oh, really?
88, 89.
That long ago?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you had like 10 years in the pullers then?
Pretty close, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think those are the golden years anyways, that 80s stuff. Like,
oh, yeah.
That was, man.
That's when it was, I think it's coming back. I think the pullers are coming back because I see them more on TV than.
I hope so.
So.
I just went to Toma this year, and right next to it is an old folks home. I'm like, literally right next to it. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what?
And they had to build there after.
It looks like it was after. So I asked the guy, I'm like, what? Why? He's like, half of them can't hear it anyway, so don't worry about it.
I know how that is.
Do you have any that were like your favorite that you were like, man, that thing just like, of the Polar era?
Well, Danny Oots is a thumper.
Thumper, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like his, and I like his. He was a real cool guy, And then Steve Johnson from Holman, the Wild Hare. I thought that one looked really cool. Well, there was another painter out of Iowa that was he called himself the Polar's painter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think his name was Villio. He did a lot of them. He did he did a lot more in the super stock than I did.
Okay. That's one thing I was gonna ask you, is like, did you have competition around here for this?
That was the only
guy.
The only guy, But other than that, I promoted myself at the polls. When they used to do Elkhorn, I sponsored the Best Appearing Award.
Yeah.
And Toma, I sponsored the Best Appearing Award. They never ran that. They never had that at the polls. And we went down to the Indy Super Bowl. They contacted me. Would you be interested? And all I had to do was buy trophies. Indy Super Bowl, I think they said, well, we'd like to give them a cash award. I says, what are you looking at? He said, well, like $500. I said, yeah, no problem.
Wow.
Because it brought me so much more work.
Yeah, wow. What was the furthest one that came from to you?
That would be John Shaw from New York.
Oh, John Shaw?
Yeah.
The Northeast Raider, I think
Northeast
it was?
Raider. And I did both his triple and his
he had
5-engine.
Oh, he had a 5.
Yeah.
I know the triple was like, everybody built theirs off of his, it seemed like.
Yes.
The staircase?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his triple was built at Kipley's.
That's another guy I gotta get a hold of.
Yeah, Sauk City.
Oh wait, you were saying he would do the engines and then you would get the work, right? How did that work?
Yeah, well, that's the people would bring the chassis if he didn't build the chassis, which he did do a lot of, okay, and the motors, and then they would ask him where to have it painted. Well, he says right down in Waterford. So he would bring it down.
Oh.
You know, and the driver or the owner or whoever would come with them and say, okay, this is how we want to do it. This is what we want to do. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's another question. Like, how did they give you free reign on what to do a lot of times, or did they have like a sketch or tell you like, hey, this is what we're thinking?
They would do. This is what I'm calling it. That's what they would say. This is what I want to call it.
Yeah.
And I want to do, you know, some, like John's. He says, I want to do something with ships, and we would do the canyon, you know, from the ship, from a destroyer. And he said, yeah, perfect, Northeast Raider, because it's a Raider, but I guess he's a old Navy guy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And, you know, Top Gun, he said, well, at that time when I did Top Gun, the movie was popular. So he says, yeah, I'm going to do a P-51 Mustang, but as far as the paint schemes and everything other than base colors, you know, stuff, they usually left it up to me, and I would draw stuff out. And this was before, you know, the internet and electronics, you know, and draw stuff out and say, well, how about something like that? Perfect, you know.
Oh, so you'd show them some kind of rendering and say they would give you like.
Yeah.
Was it like? Did you do it in color or just pencil or?
Well, it would be a colored pencil sketch, you know, and then I tell them, I put them mural right here.
Okay.
You know.
That Top Gun tractor, that was like, oh my gosh, the colors on that thing.
Yeah, it stood out well. Yeah.
And you did valve covers on that one too.
Well, that's the new owner, not Worskall's.
Okay.
When I did Worskall's, all I did were his fenders, because he didn't want to pull the valve covers off. You know, and he brought the whole tractor.
Yeah, right.
Right. But the new owner, he brought me just the fenders to redo, and then he brought me all the valve covers, and he said, we're going to do all the outside valve covers. I want to incorporate that.
Oh, man. So when was that? Was that still in the...
That was in 13.
Okay, so you've done some recently then.
Yeah.
More in the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, you know, if a guy says, I want you to do it,
yeah,
I don't want anybody else to do it, what are you going to say? Well, too bad. You know. And at that time, we had decided to expand our bike end of it, and we rented a 5,000 square foot shop just on the west end of town. You know, so we did. You know, my son started working for me, and he said, "Let's expand it." You know, and he did most of my prep work, and he did the mechanical work. If the customer needed handlebars put on, he'd put the handlebars, and cables, all that stuff. He wanted to do that. I said, "Cool," you know. And then he also worked on my sign business, with the sign business, because I had a sign business going on this whole time.
Oh, wow.
You know, I was, you know, back in the day, I learned how to pinstripe, and I also was a sign painter. You know, I hand lettered signs. I did. There was no such thing as this computer setup. Okay, so I hand lettered stuff, and I fought the computers for a long time. There was a buddy in Rochester. He was the same thing, a pinstriper and a sign painter. And he got into the computers. Well, then I started, you know, he said, Jeff, it's so easy. Just come down, I'll show you, you know. Well, then I got doing it, and people would request, hey, can we do some, you know, multiple time things? So I called Ron up. I said, hey, can I come buy some time off your computer? He said, yeah, come on down. You know, he and I got to be very good friends.
Yeah.
Because we both started off the same. He was a little bit older than me, probably 5 years or so.
Okay.
But yeah, my son decided, you know, he helps out, and he was learning the ropes on the sign program. And about two years into our expansion, he said, you know, I don't think I'm going to take over the motorcycle business. He says, I want to take over your sign business. I don't want to work this hard.
Is that what he's still doing now?
And that's what he's doing now. Yeah. So
what's that called? What's
TS Science.
Where did the TS come from?
Well, when I first started doing this, I had a friend from AC That was a body guy. And he kind of showed me the ropes, right?
Okay, yeah.
And we had a race car driver there for a dirt track rider, and he wanted us to paint the car.
Yeah.
So we did, some graphics and stuff like that on it and stuff. And Willie, the guy's name was Willie, and he and I said, we got to come up with a name. And I said, well, let's come up with your attitude. He says, well, what do you mean? Well, he had an attitude. A bodyman's attitude was they don't like a tough shit. So that's where TS came from. Stands for tough. So the first time we get done with this race car, and we sponsored it, I put on there tough customs. He couldn't go out for practice because they said you can't have that on there.
Yeah,
so this was like in 79, probably.
Yeah.
70, maybe 80. They said, yeah, you can't have that on there. So then, we had to put tape on so he could go out and practice. And then when he brought it back and we changed it and we put TS Customs.
Okay. I was wondering because yours is Jeff. And
yeah, right. Yeah, that's nothing to do with me. And now people ask me, I said it's top shelf.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, that's what it stands for. But I always come up with that.
That's the original though, right?
Yeah.
What it was.
They think it's a kick.
That was one of my questions. Like, where did that name come from? Do you still go to the pools now? It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, okay. It's been a while. I did Racine County a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
Saw that county fair, and we haven't been back there since. Yeah, it's been about 3 or 4 years. My son goes there for the polls because he was brought up with the polls.
Right.
We go to Toma and he was a little kid.
Yeah.
He enjoyed that. And we had I got pictures of him on a couple of mini rods that we painted here, and he's sitting in a mini rod.
So you did everything: minis, tractors, trucks,
yeah,
pro stocks, super stocks.
Yep, we did.
Did you do semis?
Yes.
You did?
But not complete paint.
Like the trailers?
I did lettering, usually.
Oh, where would you put those? Like on the...
I went and did them at their place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you would be blocking the street for days.
Days on end, right? Yeah. Simon says I went down to Far Iowa and did his. Pat Carpenter went down and did his.
Would that be all freehand?
Yeah, all freehand back then.
How? That's always one thing that I wanted to ask you if you, so people could see, and I want to see too. Like if you took a piece of paper like this and you put Kipley on there, how long would it? I mean, can you do that just freehand and make it look like it is? Like when you did Kipley's stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then you did his name, like say on Walsh's fender, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably 2 feet by
3
feet,
foot,
something like that.
Yeah, back then everything was hand lettered.
Would you start out with like a pencil, like primer it and then pencil? Like how? For me to do it would be like, oh my god, I need a ruler and all this. Can you just do it freehand?
Yeah,
you can.
Yeah.
And it comes out perfectly, and all the letters are the same shape and all that stuff.
Yes, relatively close. They're never perfect.
Man.
Okay, this does it perfectly.
Yeah.
But when it was done by hand, I mean, if you look close, when I show you pictures,
right,
I'll show you things that are different.
But I mean.
But it's hand lettered. Human beings are not machines. They're.
Would you do like a pencil outline on it and then fill it in, or just go straight with paint?
Well, I would, put guidelines down.
Okay.
And then rough the letter, not how it's going to look, but rough the letter so I could get the spacing right.
Spacing, yeah.
Because I don't know if you've ever seen it. There's a thing out there, about a sign painter. Always plan ahead, and when it says always plan ahead, it goes ahead like.
You didn't have enough room.
I didn't have enough room,
Yeah.
So. And the other thing I would do is I'd letter backwards.
Backwards?
So I'm on the left side of the vehicle.
Oh.
I'm lettering right to left. Or left to right, rather. Okay.
Yeah, think about that.
Okay. Say Kipley.
Yeah.
Right? Kippley. I go to the other side. I want to start it at the same place.
Yeah.
So I letter it backwards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That way there, you go from one side to the other side, it looks the same. You know? When I letter stock cars, I did that all the time. I used to letter stock cars for years.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, and yeah, I learned to do that because I thought, you know, when you letter it from left to right and it comes out again, plan ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, enough of that. I'm going to go backwards. It's not hard. I'm you know, lettering it. So, and I did, you know, I mean, even with motorcycles, you know, when I letter Harley Davidson, sometimes I'll letter it if I want to be perfect. I'll letter it backwards. You know.
What happens if you mess up?
Take it off.
While it's wet,
Yeah.
and then get rid.
Then redo it. Yeah.
And it won't go to the base paint on there.
Right.
And then would you clear over the whole thing when you're done then?
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. Like you're doing, if I do paint, okay, and I have a base color down there, I'll clear the base color and make sure it's all done.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Then you letter, and if there's anything you don't like, you can take off. You're not going to affect the base. You're just taking that off.
Okay.
And that's the same thing with, you know, when I pinstripe, and if it's going to be a final, you know, I make sure I have a clear coat. I call it a barrier coat.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You know, because then you can make changes and not affect all the hard work. Because it would screw it up definitely if you didn't do that. Because you're using a penetrating reducer to thin a paint.
Yeah.
And it's made to bite.
It's gonna go in.
Yeah.
Are you able to freehand pinstripes from like the back of a truck to the front?
I'm not a real good straight liner.
Maybe you see the guys that do that.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
like just.
Yeah. I'm you know, I do it for a couple of body shops, but I'll put a tape guideline. You know?
Okay.
I'll be right underneath the tape guideline, pull it that way. The guy that taught me to pinstripe said, fantastic straight liner. Unbelievable, you know. And I watched him in doing his designs, okay. And he always said to me, he says, and we kept in touch as time went on, you know. And he always said to me, he says, I can't make designs like you can. But you can't do my straight lines. I said, no, I know that. And that trait is, if you do the most of, you get good at it. But
And you're still doing this how often now? Every day or?
well, not every day. I'm, you know, being I call myself semi-retired.
Semi-retired, yeah. Okay.
You know, 70 years old. I, you know, do it to keep busy,
Yeah.
but not to where it's. I got it. I have to do it. I have to get it done.
Right. So, like, when you do a spray out on a car, do you have to clean the gun every time?
Oh yeah.
Isn't that a hassle? Like,
Yeah.
Because I'll watch a lot of car shows, and like say Counts Customs, right? And they spray out 6 different colors of blue. He'll mix up a whole bunch of paint and then just spray a car. And like, don't you have to clean the gun? That's a hassle every time, right?
Yeah. But that's why you have a touch-up gun.
It's just super small for just.
Yeah, just a couple of inches, you know, a couple of ounces in there. It'll give it you calls.
Because every time I paint something, I'm like, oh, I gotta clean that stupid gun. Like it's like.
But yeah. And they have disposable cups now that you pop on.
Right.
You know, that you mix it up, spray it in the garbage. You know.
You still got to get all the junk out of the gun, though, right?
Right. You still have to.
gotta-
Yeah. You know the gun.
How long does it take to clean a gun when you're? You probably got down a couple of minutes now, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because I don't tear it all down. I just want to, you know, gun cleaner through it.
Cleaner, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. That's all you need.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as you know, when you're done cleaning it, you spray it on like a paper towel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a
Yeah.
white paper towel. You know, and you see it. And if you have just thinner come through it, it's clean.
Don't even, because I take mine apart every time.
Yeah. No, I never.
No?
The only time I take it apart is if I have a major job, you know, done, and I want to, you know, it's sat in the gun for a while. Then I'll take it apart and clean it. Or if my clear coats. All my clear coats I tear the gun apart, and then my primer gun, I tear that apart
Oh, really?
because I don't care how much you clean that, it still stays a little bit in there.
Because it's thicker, right?
Yeah, and so I take that out and then I just make sure I take a cotton swab and a little brush and make sure that's all clean. Yeah.
So when like the guys would bring the stuff to you, was it ready to paint, or did you have to do a lot of body work on it first?
Oh yeah.
It was never ready to just go, right?
No. Some of them, all I did was do the artwork and the lettering.
So they had it ready.
It was already painted. Yeah, like Schindler's. All I did was letter it. In fact, I think I might have lettered it up in Toma on one of them.
Oh, really?
And then Rick Kipley's the same thing. You know, he said, I don't want to bring it down there. And I says, well, I don't want to come up to your house. I said, but we're going to be in Toma. You know, and it was like a couple of weeks away.
Yeah.
He says, can you do it on the trailer? I said, sure. It's just cool. So I brought all my paint stuff, you know, and let it on the trailer for him.
So when you do the lettering, is it with a brush?
Yeah.
And you said you didn't airbrush back in the 80s, right?
Not as much as I did now, as I do now.
Yeah, because some of the pictures we're going to see, it's like, how is that not airbrushed?
That's all hand painted.
Like on the side of Bud's truck with the bull, and then it was like a moon in the background, and like...
Yeah, see, like the backgrounds, I would use the airbrushing, you know, for the moon and the fade of the color,
fades, yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. I'd use the airbrush. But the bull itself, that was hand painted. And if you look on the back of his 34, there's a picture of a 34 sedan delivery.
Okay.
On a street. Well, the background was all, you know, airbrushed, but then all the buildings were painted by hand.
See, I don't think I've ever seen that picture, because the only pictures you ever see of that are 3/4,
Yeah.
you know, or front, or...
Yeah.
Maybe we should start looking at some of these pictures. Huh? Yeah,
And like the Steins, they're masked, sprayed gold, and then all hand outline.
How long would it take to do that then?
You know, that's probably a couple hours, you know, for both. Once you get one done, you know, what I would do now, I don't know if I do it all on a computer, so I have a stencil and I just go around and do it.
Oh, okay.
But now, back then, I just drew, you know, had the outline masked, and then I would draw inside what I want with the black.
Okay.
And that would be my stencil, but it's actually just a tracing. And then I'd flip it for the other side, so they, you know.
I mean, we haven't seen these pictures ever. I don't think anybody has, right?
Probably not, no, yeah.
I mean, you have stuff that I've never seen.
There I am.
Oh, look at that.
That's how I tore it down.
So you had to take the body off and everything?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think Steve came out, and a couple of other guys came out to help me lift it once we got it loose. And then we put it on the stands, you know.
And that was all done right here?
Yeah. Yeah, that door is that door.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And originally...
So you've moved... Oh, okay. The garage door is on the same spot.
Yeah. And originally, this garage had just a small little window, and then when I had the fire, I put, you know,
that one
nicer windows in it. Yeah. There it is with the body and the gold, because we had to put it back on there so that I could align the graphics.
Oh, man.
You know. And that's it's some car chassis there. And there, it's with the gold and the white.
Did he tell you what he wanted on this?
Well, we went over kind of what we were going to do, you know. And he says, it's got to be red, you know, but I want a candy red, because he knew about that because his truck was candy blue.
Yeah.
There it is with the candy red on. And the gold. See, you have to work, when you're painting something like this, you have to work backwards. The smallest area gets painted first so you can mask it. Then the next area gets painted so you can mask it. And then the next area.
Yeah, because it was all gold.
Right.
Oh, is that the Dodge body?
Yeah, that's the Dodge body.
No way.
That I did. I stripped it down, and then the previous thing was painted. And this is somebody's tractor.
Oh, yeah. Who moved the bedsides in? Did you guys do that?
No, he did that.
He did that?
Yeah. It was all one piece.
Oh, that's right, because it was a flip top. And
Right.
I didn't know if he had you guys move those in.
No, he had that all set.
Okay. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. But yeah, it had a subframe on it.
Mm-hmm. Look at that.
And then that's final.
I wonder where we're trying to find that. I don't know where it is.
And this is hand lettered. Hand lettered. That's all.
How did you come up with the fonts?
Well, I mean, you look at it and
That's what's on the regular Meister Brau beer, right?
Right.
So
Right.
you're able to do that, but then like this kind of stuff is just whatever you come up with?
Well, we would, Bud and I would talk, and I would say, how do you want it to look? He says, I want it to be so you can read it real good, real bold.
From the stands.
Yeah. So that's what we did. We came up with that,
And the colors on that thing are just amazing. Oh yeah, and that's the same chassis as the Blue Ox. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. There it is.
Man,
I don't know whose chassis that is. It's a truck chassis or a car chassis. But yeah, it's all, put together, and then at this point, it'd be all cleared.
Oh, before you do the letters.
Yeah, so that if I do lettering and I don't like it, I can take it off and I don't affect all the work. And this is that one.
I mean, the sanding, like
Yeah.
getting down in there, and like
Yeah,
it's all got to be hand sanded and everything, right?
pretty much, right. Yeah.
You ever get sick of sanding?
Oh, yeah.
That's one.
Plenty.
And the dust, right? How do
Yeah.
you control the dust?
Well, and then look at this. Those are all the nuts and bolts that are painted.
Wow.
Yeah. And I did that with, pretty much every modified. They want everything to be painted. And then there
nice.
is him
Look at
picking
that.
it up. That's, the finished product. But, the clutch cans are all painted to match the same silvers.
Special thanks to Ralph Banner.
Mm-hmm. That's the start of the fenders. And that was...
So on the letters like this, what comes first? The black and then you fill it in?
No, that's lettered in gold and then outlined.
And then outlined.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
There's another Kipley.
yeah.
Oh, one thing I was going to ask you, did you ever have like an Easter egg or something on your tractors where like somebody can look at it and know it's yours without even seeing your name on it? Was there like, say, a curly Q
Oh, no.
on something?
Yeah, no, I never did that. No, yeah.
So, yeah.
I've heard of that being done, but I've never... The biggest thing was my logo, was the Jeff with the feet.
And it was always on every track, everything
Yeah.
you did?
Yeah,
Jeff with the feet?
yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, because he said, with this one, because the fenders are bigger, I want to get more of the battleship look. And that's mostly airbrushed there, but all the detail is done by hand.
What would it cost to have that done back then?
Something like this now, you're probably at about 10 grand.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the early Walsh tractor.
There's
good video of that.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
there's my logo right there. Right up on top.
Oh, okay.
And that was from high school.
With the feet? How come the feet?
When I was in high school, Hang 10 was popular.
Oh, okay.
And then they would have all the cartoons or the thing where they have 2 feet this way and then 2 feet this way. And say, guess what we're doing? Okay. Well, then, I thought the Hang 10 thing was really cool. So then, when we were in our classes, doing our paintings and stuff, I said to my teachers, I got to come up with something cool. I like Hang 10, but I don't want to put Hang 10. I don't want to copy it, He goes, use 2 right feet, you're right-handed. Hey, that's a really cool idea.
So it's 2 right feet?
2 right feet, and they're at a 90-degree angle.
Oh, okay.
You know, and to this day, when I stripe stuff in the mural work, that I still sign it that way.
I'm gonna have to look for it on that Blue Ox truck then.
Yeah, right there. Custom paint by Jeff, TS Customs.
Oh man. No, that's when he picked it up, right? I mean, that's fresh out of the shop.
Yeah, this is first coming out of the shop, yeah. Yeah, and this guy here was from Minnesota.
Never enough.
And then his kid was
Oh wow.
Badass Binder.
Nice.
And they both, they came down. And I think his was the first tube chassis super stock.
Mm. Oh yeah, there's your logo down there.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever have a problem with you putting your name on it?
No.
Okay. Good.
It was more like, would you put your name on it?
Okay.
Yeah. But that's all hand laid out.
Yeah, I was gonna say just all that's gonna take forever.
Yeah. And then it's all sanded, it's cleared with lacquer and then sanded flat. So you can't feel any of the...
Oh jeez.
Yeah. It was all wet sanded with 600. Yeah, it was like intense amount of work.
Look at that.
And I think that's on
crazy.
Brett's, yeah. And that's all hand painted. Because they were big hunters out there. Yeah. Yeah, they're never enough.
It's so crazy that it goes gold and then you barely see any of the gold. And like,
right.
Wow.
Because you have to have that there to outline your panel work. And that gives you nice crisp lines and even lines,
I can't believe you still do it. Like, it seems like all this work, like, I think you'd be tired of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing I was looking at when you got me going on scanning pictures in.
Yeah, okay.
So I started scanning in like the cars that I painted and stuff, and I'm thinking,
yeah,
I mean,
I've done a lot.
Yeah, so I'm in business for 45 years or 40 years, whatever it is, I mean,
yeah,
a lot gets done,
Oh, wow.
That's all hand painted. There's the logo. This was Rotten Deer, yeah. And this is solid chassis, I believe.
Man.
That was out at his house. And there
Yeah, that's the guy who's trying to sit real low.
Yeah. There he's hooking. He won the championship with 5,000 pound that year. And Rick was he would come to the polls. Mm-hmm. He would help us. He'd help everybody.
Oh yeah.
That he did the motors for. It looks like you got to do this. That's a mini rod. There's 2 mini rods I was working on. That's my son in there. This came painted, so all I did was do the lettering. That's the new Top Gun.
How much schooling did you have before? I mean, what was your years of schooling before you're 16?
No, I went to a technical grade school. High school.
Okay.
And I took commercial art there, and that was my training.
Okay.
They taught you how to do lettering and how to set, things and to make them look proper. And then the same thing with the brush. It was all painting on canvas. It wasn't airbrush. This was all masked and lettered because of the fade. And the same thing like with buds. I laid it on there and cut it all out by hand because I didn't have computers back then on a Golden Ox.
So how many layers of paint? How many layers would that be then? Every color you see, right?
Yeah. It's first all silver. Got to know where you're going with all the silver.
Do you always start with silver?
No, sometimes gold. Sometimes whatever I want for the pinstripe, for the outline.
Okay. Oh, that just gives you the... Man.
Yeah, the panel, yeah. So I knew exactly where I was going with everything. So the panels were laid out. And then this was all razor cut, with an X-Acto blade. Because I figured out what I was doing with that. And then you lay the silver pinstripes out. Each panel. and you paint smallest to the largest. So the first color I was doing was this purple,
Yeah.
because that's easiest to mask when it's small.
But then that fades to black, right?
No, that's all purple. That's just a real dark purple. Yeah.
Does it fade, or is that just the way the light's hitting it?
The fade is like this. It's
Oh, on the sides.
just to give a dimension,
Yeah.
so that the blue looks like it's over and the red looks over over the blue. But you always, paint from smaller to larger.
And I guess the good thing about this is they really don't damage this stuff too much, right?
Right.
So if you're doing stock cars and you're getting smashed up all the time, and
Yeah.
this is kind of like a one and done, then, really, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I don't think I ever had to do any touch up on any tractors. Back in the old day when the fenders weren't this big, sometimes you'd see a little damage on them, but not too much.
Did you see a picture of this one with the 4 blowers on it yet?
No, I have not.
Oh
No.
man, it's crazy what that thing is now.
Yeah, that's
Oh, Lunky, the sled.
there. It is in the shop,
Oh, jeez.
and there's my logo. And they're great to work with, but they wanted everything done with, like this is all gold leaf.
Oh, is that hard to work with?
A lot harder than gold paint. Yeah.
It's kind of like it just falls apart, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's tissue thin.
What makes it stick? Just the
You
static?
put a
of it?
size on. You put it like a clear varnish on.
Oh, and that's what sticks it to?
Yeah, and then you let that tack up, and then you put that on there,
Oh,
and then you take a cotton swab,
yeah. Look at the
felt, and you
brushes.
put the engine turn in it.
Oh, that's how you did that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. That was, I think, 3 days.
I bet.
Because both sides are the same, but I stayed at his place,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, there it is. Look at that.
it came to me like this. They put a new front end on it. Then I pulled it apart. There it is, all primed. But then
Look at that.
that's the new,
That truck's still around.
yeah. Yeah,
It was a Toma this year. Oh, yeah, there's a logo.
and
Yeah,
there
there you go. Look at that.
they put the fork truck mask on it. There's that. I think that's at Toma, but I don't know for sure.
Did you do the tumbleweed truck too?
No. But
Man.
this is what I mean. Look at all this pinstriping right here. These
Everything.
guys wanted all that stuff.
Well, Simon's stuff was,
Yeah, always good.
Wow.
Yeah.
their facilities. I mean,
Yeah.
look at that.
And this we changed totally from what Stampede was. And then when we went back to Stampede, he wanted to get a
Because
look.
there was 2 different versions of the Trans Am, wasn't there? Wasn't there some red in this initially?
The initial Stampede had red, orange, and yellow for the stripes. When we did the Simon Says, first time it was the neon look.
Oh, it was the neon.
Yeah.
Oh, so you got yours down here then. Did you put it in the same spot every time? Like on, say, a funny car, would it always be right there? Or just wherever?
Just, yeah, whatever fit.
Whatever
like
fit.
this, I didn't want to really, there was no place to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even put his thing on there, the Simon.
Yeah, Simon Trucking and all that.
Yeah.
Do you do Hutcherson stuff? Bacon Special?
I think I did his first one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then after
That was
that,
like a rail.
yeah. Oh, this is Gamers, okay.
Steve, I haven't heard of that one. It's got a cage on it.
Yeah. This was probably, I think this was one of the last tractors they'll end up doing. And he's out of Illinois. And it was a Kipley motor.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first long distance guy I did, was the original Thumper. He brought it to me all
really?
green.
Wow.
I did the lettering and
Look at that. That's cool.
And this is all hand lettered. That's a decal. Hayes is a decal. Crane is a decal. I used the Buddy's Body Shop to do the tractor and the trailer. And then I did this,
Oh man.
you know, to make everything match, you know. And I did that at my buddy's shop because I couldn't fit the trailer in. And then he brought it again, and he brought it at my other shop up in Hales Corners.
Must be some kind of show or something. Cause look at
Well, I think this is at the Indy Super Bowl at Indianapolis.
Oh, so they had like a show too?
Yeah, they would they had the track indoor, you know, the indoor track.
Yeah.
And then they had the big staging areas, and then the Coliseum part of it, and they would have all the tractors sitting there.
So it was all indoors.
All indoors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it was in January. It's like the second or third weekend of January. And that's mostly hand painted. And this is at my old shop up in Hales Corners. This was the building next to me. This guy came from Michigan, and it was all, you know, it was painted, so we had to strip it.
Is that fiberglass?
No, it's all metal welded together, so then we had to straighten all the bodywork. And there we are in primer. And then
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that one.
and then there it is in
wow.
marker too. Scott Baker. That's the one that he came from Michigan. And it was just the body. That's all he brought.
Oh. You had to do the chassis and all the four link and all that stuff on that too, and the spring, the whole thing?
He brought that out later, but I didn't paint it. He had it already painted. So I put the pinstripes on and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because we just had the body in here.
Oh yeah, there's your barrel.
Yeah.
How many monster trucks did you do?
3.
Which ones?
His second one I painted. And then I'm missing pictures. There's some pictures I still haven't put in here. But yeah, he built this one, and then years later he built the tube chassis. But he brought like 3 guys, and then we lifted the body off of it. He had it already, you know. But I don't have any pictures of this one in the shop. But he's from Denver, Iowa.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, I did this one after I did Dave Schreier's Budweiser one, which is right here. So that's all hand painted.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh.
And this is all gold leaf. And the Budweiser logo, this is regular gold. That's a logo, that's hand painted.
I'm glad you have all these scanned in. This is great.
You can see how tall. You know, I mean,
right there.
Some of these, yeah. You know, you could sit on the seat and you'd be bumping your head on the ceiling.
I think it's amazing what you did in this little shop. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And still are.
Yeah. And then that's the one on the other side.
Yeah, because a lot of times they would want different things on each side, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there was a...
How long would it take to do the team of horses?
Well, you know, like this mural, hand painted and stuff like that, I probably have like 4 hours in that mural.
That's it?
Because I'm fast. I'm used to doing it. You know.
I can't even draw a stick figure hardly.
You know, just like his stuff with the murals.
Yeah, I mean, just...
You know, those were... I mean, he gave me a picture of his truck. You know. And like this is all hand lettered.
Yeah.
You know. And then he gave me a picture of this tractor that he was using at the time. Nick Conrad. That was, I'm trying to think of the name of it beforehand.
He had tractors too, didn't he? Like Conrad?
He bought Healy's old tractor, and he called it Sodbuster.
That's what it was, Sodbuster.
That was.
He's got the landscaping business.
Right. This is Healy's old tractor.
Yeah, because Healy drove for Bud.
I think just for a year though.
Yeah. Oh wow.
That was Daddy's toy. That one there.
Oh, that's cool. Look at that.
That's the way it came to me. Again, there's the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's his first. That's the first tractor I ever painted.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who was that? I don't recognize that one.
Robert Healy.
Oh, that's Healy's?
That's Healy's
really?
first one. Yeah. And then it was already black. He says, when I talked to him about it, it was when we met at World of Wheels in Madison at Car Show.
Okay.
He left a note. I was striping at the show. He left a note on my pinstriping box. And I walked away, and there was a note on there. I thought, what the heck's this? And it's just, when you have a chance, call me.
Yeah.
He says, I'm walking around, I'll stop by. Well, then we met each other, and because I had a shirt on and stuff, and he knew who I was, and he said, yeah, I got a tractor.
Started the whole thing, huh?
Yeah, it started the whole deal, yeah.
And then was it word of mouth after that, or how did you...
Yeah. So then he said, hey, let's redo the tractor.
Oh.
And then that's airbrushing and mostly hand painted. And there it is at the Madison show. But I mean, painting the wheels,
Yeah, right.
the chassis.
Mr. Twister.
Yeah, that's Rick Kipley's.
That's
the one
his
that
tractor.
That's his tractor, and that's the one that littered right there.
Oh,
At one of the poles at Toma. Like, this is Elkhorn. I painted this one here. He brought to me already white. This is at the Indy Super Bowl.
Oh, okay, yeah, they get the huge place to put them all.
Yeah.
So were the fans able to walk around in there?
Oh, yeah.
And look at all that?
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah.
That would be... How did you keep all the sanding dust separate from the painting area?
Well,
is there two different rooms or a wall?
No, this was just one spot. But then I'd, spend 3-4 hours cleaning the shop.
Like how did the walls and everything?
Blow everything down with air.
Yeah.
And I had my exhaust fan, so the exhaust fan was taking it out. Mm-hmm. And then when you paint, you water down the floor and you water down the walls.
Well, the walls too.
Yeah.
And the ceiling?
No, ceiling you don't, because you don't want no drips.
Right. But
nothing really stuck to the ceiling.
Oh, it did.
And you blow off the lights, because back then it was all fluorescent.
Yeah.
So you blow the lights off,
That's the one he started up out here?
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, this is him loading it up, and I'm sure it was running at the time, or I asked him, okay, shut it down because I want to take pictures of it, This is my neighbor's truck. So when I sandblasted, he would keep it there so I wouldn't get on his driveway.
Doesn't look like it's going to hurt it any.
Right, exactly. And he said, the only thing I would do, I'd put something over the windows because the glass is defective. Yeah.
I got to have you sign this too. So, I know it's not your tractor, but you painted it, right?
Yeah.
So. I don't know. Oh yeah, I got the feet on there and everything?
Yeah.
Sweet. Here, let's end this off There's Jeff, everybody. So, thank you for all your time today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Really, really appreciate it. So nice meeting you. And
same here, yeah.
Very, very talented. And
thanks.
Yeah, thank you for all your time today.
You bet.